All right. Hey there, everybody, and welcome as we grade each NHL team's trade deadline. So you can see here we've got tier maker going on. We want to grade the moves that each team in the NHL has done. The trade deadline has yet to come to an official close. That will be at 3 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully we can be live throughout the rest of the deadline. So then that way we can track any remaining moves. But I thought it would be fun to hang out with all of you here, and we can do a little interactive exercise. This should be a good time here, and welcome no matter who you're cheering for. We definitely want to have you here because we do cover the entire NHL as best as we can with fun streams like this and other sorts of videos. So if it's your first time here, you like what you see, you know what to do. There's those actions down below that you can take. Alrighty, so we're going to get started in just a few minutes. I want to make sure that we give enough people time to join here, and once we do have enough people, then we should be able to get cracking with our grades. And the first team is going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fifth grade logic, what's going on? How we doing? Thanks for hopping in here, and happy Friday to you. Let me know your favorite team. Curious to get your thoughts on the deals that they've made so far. Curtis Lazard to the Devils. Yep, that just came in, if I'm correct. There were maybe some deals in the last hour or so that I myself haven't tracked because I've been out with my dog at the park. Stars, okay, so you guys got Max Domi and you got Yevgeny Dodonov in the swap for Guryanov. All right, so Stars, hopefully they can win some more games in regulation before we get into the playoffs here. Yeah, happy Friday. And the Leafs have to trade Justin Hall. Oh, yeah. You're not the only one with those sentiments. That's for sure. School got canceled after a tornado. Oh, my God. I hope that you and your friends are okay. I hope there wasn't any sort of damage or anything like that that you have to be concerned about. But yeah, happy Friday. We also got Cortana hanging out with us here. My pupper. There she is. We were just at the park. So we'll get started in just a little bit. I just want to make sure we have time for enough people to join. You know, that makes it a lot more fun when we're, assigning grades, when we're doing rankings and that sort of thing. Devils have had a solid trade deadline. Oh, yeah, to say the least. You keep your main prospects. I mean, they're in great shape there. Brendan Lemieux from LA to Philly. He definitely feels like a flyer, says the Penguins fan. Yeah, for sure, man. Spot on. Sharks need to trade everybody. Fact, pretty much. There's really nobody who I want to keep on the roster, honestly. There really isn't. All the prospects can come up. It'll be fine. Yeah, Brendan Lemieux and a fifth for Zach McEwen. Great jersey. Thank you, Thomas. I do appreciate that. Of course, for anybody curious, this is the 2022 Winter Classic jersey for the St. Louis Blues, the off-white. Only bested by my favorite jersey that's been worn in recent history, and that's the 2017 Blues Winter Classic. It's one of the absolute greats. Where can you find the trade tracker? I don't know exactly. Some sites do have kind of a rolling feed with that sort of thing, but I don't know who that is, actually. Thanks for Benito back. Yeah, no problem. There are actually some Penguins fans who hang out at this park regularly with their dog. I didn't see them today. I was going to say, hey, hope he works out well for you guys again. You're 8-0 when you have him in your lineup in playoff series. All right, great. We got 17 people. Okay, we can get started. Maybe we'll wait till we get about 25 people, and then we'll get started with the grades. And yeah, we'll stay in the loop for any other trades that come in here, like the Zach McEwen to LA in exchange for Brendan Lemieux and a fifth. That actually seems like a pretty decent return for Philadelphia, or for the Kings in this case. Covering all the crazy trades. Hey, you're welcome. This has been a lot of fun. I mean, you guys have shown up for this, so why wouldn't I? So you're most welcome. Feel bad for Quick, 3 teams in 48 hours. Wait a second. Well, I mean, he's still in Vegas, right? Well, what they do is sometimes when a player gets traded to a team and the team knows they're going to flip him somewhere else, they'll say, hey, don't come out here. Don't fly out here just yet. We're going to do something with you and give you a shot to win a Stanley Cup somewhere. Tristan Jarry, 10 the goal. Is that a dangle? Is that a dangle? Like, that's a dangle quote, right? You're excited to see Kane on the Rangers? Yeah, he scored a goal last night. That was there's no better way to get started except for the team to actually win. Ryan Poehling is the only one missing from practice. Okay, so a healthy lineup is good. Then again, the Penguins, last couple of years, they've been better when they've actually been injured, strangely. You don't want to talk about that, Rosado? Hey, I feel you, man. I mean, we dealt Timo Meyer and got an okay return, but other than that, it's been very underwhelming for us. So I feel you, man. Greetings from Boise State. Go Red Wings. Yeah, I mean, they put Vrana, they moved him to St. Louis. Sorry, brain gets so scrambled with so many great comments. 1 point ahead of the Ducks. Yep. That's exactly where we want to be, right? All right, we got 22 people here. Let's see if we can get to 25, and then we'll get started with the grades here. Now, actually, I have computed. You can't see it here, but I've computed my very own formula for basically grading this properly. So we'll be able to get very accurate ratings of each team based on your input. So this is the most advanced ranking system we have ever used on Twisted Wrister Hockey. So if that sounds fun to you, leave a thumbs up, and we'll get to the grades very shortly here. Quick didn't dress for the Jackets, did he? No, I don't think so. I didn't even know if he flew out there. I didn't think so. Look at the Devils depth chart. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? A beautiful thing. All right. From Edmonton, Caden. All right. Hey, thanks for hopping in here. What are your thoughts on Ekholm being a part of the team? Seems like a pretty good dude. Of course, you leave behind Tyson Barrie, but for a little bit more of defensive reinforcement, that's good. More offensive opportunity, perhaps, for Evan Bouchard. Orlov has been fantastic. Mando. Yo, 3 goals? I did not know this guy had even put up 3 goals in a full season with Washington. Stars will make conference final. That's a hot take. I respect it, though. I before the season started, was very high on Dallas, but they need more from Marchment. All right. Here we go, everybody. Tatar's playing against the Knights. Oh, yeah, because Jersey's playing them. All right. On a line with Heischer and Mercer. Interesting. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get started, everybody. So we're going to use the YouTube poll system. And our first team, as you can see on my screen, is the Pittsburgh Penguins. So you're going to have 4 options. We only have 4 options available through YouTube polls. Okay. So the first option is either S or A tier. So excellent moves, if not supreme elite level of a trade deadline for this team. Then there's the B level. The team did well. C is kind of like meh, so, or D or F. D or F is going to be the last option. So I'm going to throw up the poll right now. And guys, what you can do is you can look at the other part of my screen here. I can't really zoom in too much, but it will show you the actual deals that the team has made at the trade deadline so far up until this morning. So the Penguins, for example, have dealt away Teddy Bluger. They got a 3rd round pick for next year as part of that deal. They got Mikhail Granlund from the Predators in exchange for a 2nd, and they just traded for Nick Bonino. I still think that there are other terms of that deal to be kind of announced, but yep, vote in our poll right here, and let's see what you guys think of the Penguins trade deadline so far. I want everybody casting a vote here because then that way we get a more accurate rating of your thoughts and opinions. How's the chemistry between Kachuk and Chychrun? I will throw that question to somebody else because I didn't watch the game last night. Will Toronto make it past the first round? I mean, I think that they're as prepared as ever to do that, especially since their goaltending has been overall pretty solid. But oh yeah, also lost Kapanen, right? But didn't they waive Kapanen? So that's not. I don't know. You can factor that into your decision if you want. They were quiet. The Penguins. I mean, they made a couple of moves. They don't have a whole lot of like assets to throw around and that sort of thing. Voracek to the Coyotes. Yep, that's right. I guess that is he ever going to play again though? It counts when it's during the trade deadline. All right, fair. All right, let's get as many votes on this as we possibly can. Okay. I've only got 10 here. We got to be climbing over 20 here. And let me know, guys, if you hear of any other big moves being made. I've got my Twitter alerts set up on my phone here so I can track that too. All right. What do you guys think? How long is the Sharks rebuild going to be? It's probably going to be another 4 years, honestly. With the terrible contracts they still have, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 3 or 4 seasons until the Sharks actually are something. If they get Bedard, that's going to help, obviously. All right, we've got 11 votes. I want to see more though, because that gives us a better understanding of the community's opinion here. So, if you haven't cast a vote yet, I want you to throw your name in the hat here, and let's see what you think. Oh, you used to live in San Jose. Okay, gotcha. Now you're obviously in the Dust Bowl. It seems like, or Tornado Alley. Uh, it's a tie. I know we need people to break the tie. So let's get some takes in here, folks. I'll give you about 15 more seconds to cast a vote. Okay, because this does take a while, so we need to definitely get through this. Any more opinions on the Penguins, folks? All right. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Can I read this? Yes, I can. Okay. Just give me a sec. I have to tabulate this. All right. So 56. I mean, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get a C to start things off, but we need to record this as well. And I can tell you why. So 0, 37, 56, and 0, 37, 56, and 6% with 16 votes. All right, let me tabulate this because again, we're going to make adjustments based on kind of where everything is. You'll see what I mean later on, basically. But anyway, 0, 37, 56, and 6. Number of votes was 16. So with an average score of 2.29, think of it like a grade point average, guys. So S tier or A tier would be a 4.0, B tier is a 3.0, C is 2, and D or F would be 1. So 2.29 is the average score for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so that would put them in the C tier, obviously. All right. We'll hit our next team in just a second. The sixth. Well, fifth grade logic, only 5 teams can make it. There are 3 teams from each division who are guaranteed to go to the playoffs. All right, next team is the Winnipeg Jets. So give me just a moment here and we'll put this up. All right. So cast your vote for the Winnipeg Jets. And if you want to have your eyes on the moves they've made so far, oh, that was the old Winnipeg Jets from way back in the day. Here we go. So really, their only deal that they've made is Nino Niederreiter. That's the only move that I have showing up, unless they did a move, made a move this morning. So that's what we have for the Winnipeg Jets. Nino Niederreiter. That's about it. Hey, Mean Girl, how you doing? What do you think of Toronto's moves at the deadline? They've been pretty busy, haven't they? That's all I can pretty much touch on with the Winnipeg Jets. But I mean, giving up just a second for Niederreiter, hey, that's nothing to complain about, I don't think. That's good, but is that going to be enough for the Jets to make a deep run? At this point, I almost think that you're kind of relying on Hellebuck to just stand on his head every game. But yeah, you guys gave the Penguins a C. And that to me is probably appropriate. Like they have made moves to get into the playoffs, but I don't think that that's enough to like get through some of the teams in that part of the bracket, really. It doesn't matter, Leafs are toast anyway. Such is the life of a Leafs fan. All right, 13 votes. Let's see if we can get toward 20, everybody. So sound off. Fifth grade logic says a B. Sarah says a D or F. I'd probably meet you in the middle. I think that they made a great deal. It's just that I don't think it's enough. 14 votes. 15 votes. All right, I'll give you guys about 10 seconds, okay? So if you haven't voted yet, definitely contribute here. Does anybody want to break the tie? This is the time to do it. What do you think of the Winnipeg Jets at the trade deadline? Okay, well, if that's all we have, then we'll just end the poll and we'll go on to the next team in just a moment. So, in this case, pretty split across the board, except for nobody thought that they were awesome at the deadline. So, we'll grade this out in just a moment. So, how many votes? That was 15. Okay. So 1 second, 0, 33, 33, 33, and 15. With an average score of 1.98, they are not even reaching C tier technically, but because it is very close to C tier, that's where we'll put them. But again, we're going to grade on a curve. So, in other words, if there are teams that have a better score than Winnipeg that are part of the C tier, I would move Winnipeg down to the D tier. All right, we get super scientific here on Twisted Wrister. All right, next team, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights. They've made a couple of moves. Let me just put up the poll here. All right, guys, what do you think about the Golden Knights? The maths, exactly, Patrick. I was terrible at math in high school. And so that's why I took one class at community college and then I met my requirements. And I never took another math class again. All right, so the Golden Knights, let's take a look and see what they've done at the trade deadline. They've been fairly active. Okay. So first of all, there was that deal for Dyson Mayo getting the Shea Weber contract off the books. They sent Zach Dean to the Blues to get Ivan Barbashev, who did have a 27-goal season last year. They also acquired Teddy Bluger from the Penguins in exchange for a third-round pick and a prospect. And then lastly, they acquired Jonathan Quick from the Columbus Blue Jackets after they had acquired him from the LA Kings. Young Tane, how we doing? How we doing? Thanks for hopping in, and happy Friday to you. Can we skip teams who haven't traded? Not really. You don't know what the Knights have done? Well, that is why I have the right side of my screen pulled up here, so then that way you can track all the moves they've made. Smart Feller Vegas is taking the West. You know, I think that they've had a good deadline. I don't think it's been great, but the West is pretty wide open. You know, there isn't one team that I think is going. Well, Colorado is kind of making a case to steamroll everybody, but Vegas, could they win a round or two? I think it's pretty believable, and I think you guys are pretty unbelievable. Jets did okay, not a bad trade activity. Their team's not bad, yeah, but it's kind of like you don't want to be in purgatory, right? Where you like get into the playoffs and that's just about it, right? When you have, you know, mostly a veteran core. Hopefully Perfetti's good for the playoffs. Devils are getting stacked AF. Absolutely. Pleasure doing business with you guys. Or if that's your team. Vegas should just let it chill. They'll make it no matter what. The Stone injury, somehow they've been better since then. All right. We got 14 votes. Let's give you guys about 15 more seconds. So if you haven't voted already, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Quick isn't all that quick anymore, says John. Oh, he played really well in that playoff series, I think, against the Oilers, except for like game 7. But, I mean, the brakes had basically come off at that point for the whole team. You'd love to see Quick beat LA. Even though I'm a Sharks fan, right? Our rivalry between Vegas is still, like, for Sharks fans, we're still pretty bitter with that. But it would be pretty funny to see Quick beat the Kings in the first round as part of the Knights. All right. Let's close this poll out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So 20%. Let me give you a good computation here. 53 and 26 with 15 votes. Okay. Okay. Just let me update my sheet here. So 20, 53. I mean, they're going to be B tier to start out, right? 26 and 0, 15. All right. So with a score of 2.91, that's like their grade point average, right? So 2.91, it's not 3, but it's still much better than Pittsburgh at this point. So Vegas goes in the B tier, and I think that's a pretty fair grade. I think they made, they didn't like blow or they didn't completely mortgage their future in this case. They didn't give up any of their first round picks. So I think they're all right. Hey, Jay-Z, how we doing? How we doing? All right. All right, everybody. For anybody just joining us, we are grading each team's trade deadline. And so we've graded 3 teams so far. And next up, we got the St. Louis Blues. So here we go, everyone. Okay, St. Louis Blues. Just a moment. All right. 2:55, and that's when they all flood in, probably. Hey, guys, if you want more people to join us, though, just leave a thumbs up. The algorithm actually picks up on that, even during a live stream. All right. So here we go. Grading the St. Louis Blues. If you want to track what the St. Louis Blues have done, I'm going to pull up all their deals, okay? And they've been busy, right? So it all starts with Vlad Tarasenko and Niko Mikkola going to the Rangers, and they got a first-round pick and a fourth. They got Sammy Blayback. They also got Ryan O'Reilly, or they got rid of Ryan O'Reilly and retained some of his salary, but they got essentially a first, a second, and a third out of that. They got Zach Dean, I think a former first-round pick, and they sent Ivan Barbashev over there. Now, he was a UFA just like Tarasenko and O'Reilly. And they also picked up Jakub Vrana for a very cheap price, only for a 7th and a prospect. So not all that bad. Ayers, how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here. Happy Friday to you. All right, we got 10 votes on this, guys. Cast your votes for the St. Louis Blues. This is interesting. I think the Blues, personally, I would at least give them a B. They got not an amazing return by any means, but they did get a couple of first-round picks. They have 3 for this year in a stacked draft. And to top that off, they cleared up so much cap space. It's fantastic. Really, with O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and Barbashev coming off the books. One of the worst deadlines by far. See, I actually argue in favor of them here. All right, let's give it about 15 seconds here, guys. Cast your vote if you haven't already. Joints for you. All right, happy Friday. One of the worst deadlines by far. This is one of the greatest deadlines by far, just overall. All right, let's wrap this up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We got more votes. That's great. Thank you. Okay, so let me compute here. We've got, see, this one's a little bit more complicated, right? They'll still probably end up in the B tier, but 5, 42, 31, and 21 with a total of 19 votes. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually recording these to give us a more accurate grade of each team. 5%, 42%. I would have even considered giving them an A myself. 31 and 21 with a total of 19 votes. But, I totally wrote that down wrong. 5, 42, 31, and 21 with a total of 19 votes. Hold on. Did I do that right? Sorry, guys. One sec. 5, 42, 31, 21. Really? Interesting. They only have a score of 2.29. They are tied with the Penguins. So they would go into the C tier if I'm correct. 5, 42. Okay, just want to make sure I have this right, guys. Just bear with me quickly. Math is important, right? Okay, just want to make sure the values look good. Average score, though, is only 2.29 because 52% of you had them at C or D tier. So they're going in the C tier. I'm putting them ahead of Pittsburgh, though, because they got more votes for the B tier. Although I personally, I would consider putting them in A. All right. But anyway, next up, we've got the Blue Jackets. in in position to actually get the number 1 overall pick. All right, so Columbus, we'll put up a poll in just a minute here. Right, C or D or F. Okay, everybody. Blues a B. Every team a B. Well, you weren't entirely wrong. Okay, next up, we've got the Jackets. If you want to keep track of their moves, I don't necessarily have everything up to the minute because Cap Friendly is very thorough. They want to make sure all the trade calls go forward. But they've done a number of things, guys. And most of it is centered around Jonathan Quick. But they did get a 5th round pick for Gustav Nyquist, who is injured. So that's why they didn't get as high of a return on him. So they got a 5th for Nyquist. For Jonathan Quick, they sent Jonas Korpisalo and Gavrikov to the LA Kings, and they got a 2023 first-round pick conditional, a 2024 third-round pick. They also dealt Jakub Voracek to the Coyotes, and they picked up another 7th-round draft pick and Michael Hutchinson while dealing Jonathan Quick over to the LA Kings. A little confusing there, but they did bolster their draft depth a little bit. What, we got another trade coming up for the Wild or for somebody else? Goalie swap, put them into B. Yeah, so they unload Korpisalo and Gavrikov. They flip Quick, and they deal away Gustav Nyquist. Jackets were mid. All right. Got 15 votes here. Let's give you guys another 15 seconds or so. So sound off if you haven't already. They're waiting for a UFA in June. Yeah, they'll probably have plenty of cap space. And thank you for joining us from Germany. Talking about the Blues. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Blues freed up so much salary cap. So I think they can retool fairly quickly and still build the team around Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas if they want. Devils got Lazar. Yeah, that just came in before the stream. Nemesnikov to the Jets. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So we might even consider regrading that. Did the Sharks get Logan Stanley as part of that? I haven't seen. Where are my notifications here? Twitter's not showing my notifications on my phone. That's not fun. Not fun at all. Okay. What's the situation with Nemesnikov then? I'm curious to know. Guys, should we regrade the Jets now that they have Nemesnikov? Just say yes or no in the chat, because we already graded them. Otherwise, let's close out the Jackets poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Yeah, they're going to be in C tier, most likely. So 10%, 15, 73, and 0 with a total of 19 votes. Okay. All right, let's see here. I'm going to actually put Winnipeg in bold in case we want to regrade them later on. 10%, 15, 73, and 0 with a total of 19 votes. Interesting. So an average grade of 2.31 would vault the Blue Jackets at the front of the C tier so far. So that's where we're at. The Kraken are going to pick up JVR after the Jets trade. Yeah, apparently the Flyers aren't seeking all that much for JVR. That does surprise me quite a bit. Okay, next team is going to be the Florida Panthers. Oh, interesting. All right. So the Florida Panthers haven't done a damn thing, honestly. So I'm curious to get your take on this, actually, because were they supposed to be buyers? Were they supposed to be sellers? They're outside of the playoff picture right now, but it's not inconceivable for them to make it. I just don't see it happening myself. All right. Florida Panthers, guys, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to do something pretty quickly. And Pennywise, how we doing? Are you a fan of the actual band? Okay. Florida Panthers. I just want to make sure that I have my information correct. Yeah, they have not done a damn thing so far. Is it fair to hold their bad trade deadline moves last year against them? Um, sort of, yeah, because they didn't have any bargaining chips. They didn't have any first round picks to trade away to get somebody to help them make the playoffs. Pennywise, I'm doing pretty good. It's Friday. You can't complain. And yeah, it's been a great trade deadline. And a huge reason for me, at least, is because so many people have shown up for our streams and have been contributing their thoughts in our comments and all that. So it's been pretty banger, I gotta say. Toronto's been quiet today. Are they done? I mean, I thought they were done. They've introduced a lot of cooks in the kitchen since you know, kicking things off with the O'Reilly deal. Waiting for somebody to fall in their lap. I mean, and of course, when these questions are posed, guys, you're more than welcome to interact with each other too. I'm just another opinion out there. Panthers have done horrid. All right, let's about 15 more seconds on the Panthers. So sound off with a vote if you haven't already. Yeah, Nemesnikov got dealt to Winnipeg for a fourth rounder. That's like the fifth time it's happened. Isn't that crazy? By the way, there were some people who made correct predictions for the trade deadline, and I owe them stickers. So if you're MC or Johnny Silverhand, I know that I owe you a sticker, and I might owe a couple other people stickers as well. Has Besser gotten moved? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Okay, 20 votes. We're going to close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Rails, how we doing? Happy trade deadline. So I think I know where we're going to put Florida. Okay, so we got 5, 10, 30, and 55 with 20 votes. All right, nicely done, everybody. So let me go to my grading sheet here. 5, 10, 30, and 55. Unbelievable. With a 20 votes. So the average score is 1.65. That would actually put them in the D tier, but I'm going to put them in the D tier right now, but I will slide them down further. If, for example, everybody else has a score of 2 or higher, that would definitely warrant putting Florida in the F tier. Okay? Cheese It Man, welcome back. Toronto fans want Hull gone. Yeah, somebody else, like right when I started streaming, that was their first message. Okay, next up, we're going to go to the Vancouver Canucks. Kind of another interesting team because they did some selling. They also did some buying. All right, next up, we got the Canucks. All right, now if you're curious to see what the Canucks have done at the trade deadline, this is as up to date as I can do with it. So look at that. They've been busy. The Horvat deal, the Horvat trade can definitely be a part of this. I know it happened at the end of January, but it's very much a trade deadline move, in my opinion. Getting Atu Ratu, a former first rounder. I have to say it like I'm Finnish because I have Finnish friends. They got Anthony Beauvillier, who's actually worked out really well so far. And they got a first round pick conditional, but it will be a first rounder no matter what. They got Vitaly Kravtsov for only a 7th rounder in 2026. They got Josh Bloom. I don't know who that is. They dealt away Luke Shen for a 3rd rounder. They got Philip Hronik, who has 1 more year left on his deal after this year and will be an RFA, and a 4th in exchange for a first round draft pick and a 2nd round draft pick. Now, that first rounder came from the Islanders. And this morning, they dealt away Curtis Lazar for a 4th rounder next year. What do you guys think? You don't hate what the Canucks have done? Yeah, I actually think they made their situation a little bit better. Could they have gotten maybe a little bit more for Horvat? Maybe. And the Hronik deal, I mean, he could work out pretty well. He's had an awesome season too. Rangers really going for it, says Philip. Correct, you are. Bruins are blasting teams apart. Yeah, like 7-1 against Buffalo. And Orlov has 3 goals in 4 games for them. That's just incredible. They could have gotten more out of their trades. Certainly didn't get less. Yeah. Agreed. Giving the Canucks an A for giving you Horvat. Okay. All right. Awesome. How many votes do we have here, everybody? We have 20 votes. Okay. I'll give you about 10 seconds. So sound off if you haven't already. Brick. All right. All right. She's a man. Horvat was good, but they got enough. Yeah, there haven't been like huge returns for players like Horvat and Meyer and that sort of thing, like huge returns, right? All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. We got 23 votes, so we're seeing that tick up. Okay, so that was what? That was 4, 43, 30, 21 with 23 votes. So now I'm going to go to my grading sheet and get a proper score for this, right? It's going to work kind of like a grade point average. All right. So 4, 43, 30, and 21 with a total of 23 votes. An average score of 2.26. So really, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Columbus, and Vancouver are actually grading out very similarly. Winnipeg is actually a little bit lower than them, but we'll make adjustments, right? So if everybody's going into the C tier, then eventually we'll take the teams that are at the front of the C tier and we'll bump them up into the B tier, that sort of thing. All right, next up, LA Kings. Here we go. All right, CJ, gifting a membership. Thank you, CJ. I appreciate that, man. And TJ Brody, you are the lucky recipient. And I'll put up a community post here. So then that way we can add you to our members only Instagram chat group where you can interact with the fiercest channel supporters while you're a member, I should say. Thank you. All right. Alrighty. Here we go. I'm thinking about doing a members only stream on Sunday, by the way. So, and it would be friendly for our viewers in Europe. We have some members in Europe too. So, hey, would love to have you along for that. Okay. CJ to TJ, right? That's a pretty strong connection there. Next up, we've got ourselves the LA Kings. Thank you for your patience. All right. So, everybody get ready to vote here. Oops, sorry. These sorts of things are very mechanical. I'm doing my best here. All right. Thank God I have plenty of caffeine too. Okay, here we go. S or A. Kings is an F. Interesting. Oh, because of what they did to Quick. All right. Yeah, I just know that his wife was not happy about it, and actually neither were the other players. That's for sure. Okay. If you want to see what the Kings have done so far, I'm going to pull up their moves, okay? So, it goes back to the Quick deal. Columbus got a first and Jonathan Quick and a third too. In exchange, the Kings bolstered their goaltending with Jonas Korpisalo, who's having a much better year this year than he did last year. And they got some insurance on defense with Vladislav Gavrikov. Not exactly the best defenseman this year, apparently. His metrics were pretty damn good last year, though. So, anyway, I know that doesn't tell the full story. And this morning, they got Zach McEwen from the Flyers in exchange for Brendan Lemieux and a 2024 fifth-round pick. What they did to Quick is unforgivable. It was pretty bad. Pretty bad. But don't let your emotions consume you. They could have just waited until the end of the season. Right. And you got to remember, Quick was pretty darn good against the Oilers in the playoffs. And, of course, he's got a great track record in the postseason for the most part. So sound off with your opinions on Quick here. Wow. You guys are not a very kind bunch. No love for Korpisalo and Gavrikov. I mean, they did give up a first rounder and a third. Danelle, how you doing, man? Happy trade deadline to you. Thanks for hopping in here. This Quick trade goes down as the worst goalie trade in the NHL. What about when Fleury got dealt to Chicago? For nothing. He got dealt for nothing. Anyway, got 22 votes. Let's give it about 15 more seconds, guys. So cast a vote if you haven't already. It's a solid C. If what didn't happen to Quick. All right. But this is cool. It's your opportunity for you to give your thoughts and opinions on this. It's not my, I'll provide my 2 cents here, of course. But these aren't my grades. The Flurry was way worse. I mean, I think they're pretty darn bad just collectively. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, 23 votes. Nicely done. So here we got 8% for A tier. There were a couple believers out there. 13 for B. We've got 39 for C and also that for DF. Okay. So just a moment here while I add this up, everybody. Roman, well said. Well said. All right. 8, 13, 39, 39 with 23 votes. Yeah. All right. A score of 1.88. Actually, you know what? That's a little bit better than Florida. But you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start making a couple of deductions here. So we've got LA going into the D tier. Now, they weren't that far off from Winnipeg. I could move Winnipeg to the D tier, but right now I won't because when we voted on that, they hadn't acquired Vladislav Nemesnikov. So I'm going to keep that at C tier. Maybe we can vote on that later on too. All right, next up, we've got the defending champions, the Colorado Avalanche, where they're absolutely steamrolling right now, except the Devils beat them recently. All right, so next up, we've got the Avs. Okay. All right. You hate the new trade for for Nemesnikov. Got it. Toria, what's going on? What's going on? Good timing as we talk about the Avs. Avs. All right. S or A. Bravo, Charlie, Delta, or Foxtrot. Okay. So if you want to know what moves the Avalanche have made, let's go over to Cap Friendly. Now, if you want to consider it, they did get Matt Nieto from the Sharks and Delta Way Martin Kaut, who just wasn't going to be a mainstay in the lineup, and also Jacob McDonald, who they didn't have any need for, although he's played pretty well in San Jose. They got Keith Kincaid for some goaltender insurance. They've had problems with, Francouz always being injured. Shane Bowers. Jack Johnson, they got back from the Blackhawks for not too much. And they also got Lars Eller, who in 2018 scored the winning goal in the Stanley Cup Game 5 against the Knights. And they dealt away a second-round pick for 2025 down the road. So what do you think of what's going on and who got traded? Well, I know Nemesnikov is going to the Jets. And I know that Brendan Lemieux got shipped out to Philadelphia for Zach McEwen. San Jose didn't have to retain any salary. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on with that. I haven't been as plugged in this morning. I was at the dog park with Cortana here. If anybody wants to say hi to Cortana, there she is. Look at that sweet girl there. Just recovering from the madness of the trade deadline, of course. All right. Cast your vote. Yeah, TJ, you like the emojis, eh? That's what they're there for, right? All right, so the Avs make a bigger splash later. These moves aren't top tier, but hey, you know the Avs. They still have to get Makar back and Landeskog. They're looking pretty good. All righty. Your pup also loves her sweaters and shirts. Good. Yeah, she's a good sport when I put those on her. I mean, we had a couple cold snaps to where she had to wear a sweater. Oh, thank you, Toria. Yeah, we'll let you. I'll let her know that you all say hi. All right, we got 25 votes for Colorado. Let's give you guys about 10 more seconds. So cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Hey, Chelsea, how you doing? Thanks for hopping in here, and happy Friday to you. It's a good day. All right, wrapping this up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hey, nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. Got 25 votes here. All right. 7. 51 for B. 36. And 3% with 25 votes. All right. Let me give us a grade here. Gave the Kraken situation clarity. Hey, no problem, Constable. Got to spit the facts, homie. All right, so Avs are at 751, 36, and 3 with a total of 25 votes. A score of 2.56. 2.56. That's noticeably better than, let's see here. How does that compare against Columbus? Columbus got 2.31. So 2.56. Right now, you know what I'll do? The Avs might go into the C tier later on, but they are a little bit better than the other teams that are kind of right in the same grouping there. So we'll give them a B for right now. And I would give them myself, I'd grade them out as kind of like a B minus C plus. It's a passing grade, certainly. They didn't really need to do all that much, I don't think. Anyway, whoops, I dropped my pen. Okay, next up, we got the Capitals. Another interesting situation, kind of like the Blues. Remember, the Caps were basically going nowhere. They were still in the playoff conversation, but they felt a need to retool if they want, Ovechkin to get a shot at a Stanley Cup run at the end of his career. So let's get our next poll up, okay? All right, we got the Caps, S or A, B, C, D, or F. All right. Okay, so the poll is going up, and if you want to see the moves and recap what the Capitals have done so far, I'm going to pull that up on Cap Friendly. Okay. So it all started with the deal with Boston, where they dealt Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway. They got Craig Smith just for cap reasons, because as a cap dump. They got a first, a second, and a third, although those are differing years, but a first, second, and a third. And Andrei Svetlakov, I don't really know him. They got a third round draft pick for Marcus Johansson. They got Rasmus Sandin from the Maple Leafs. They dealt away Eric Gustafsson and their first round draft pick from Boston, which would have been, at the end of the first round this year. But Sandin, pretty good young defenseman, and he'll get some good opportunity there. And they received a second round pick by dealing away Lars Eller, who hasn't really had that much of an impact on the Caps this year. Personally, I would say the Caps have had kind of a low-key solid trade deadline. I think they're doing exactly what they should do from a strategic standpoint to retool for Ovechkin at the end of his career. So I would actually, if I could do pluses and minuses, I think I'd probably give them a B plus. They've done pretty well. But anyway, what do you all think? All right, we got 20 votes. We'll give you guys about 15 seconds, so cast a vote if you haven't already. Yeah, Nick Bonino goes back to the Penguins. The Penguins are 8-0 with Bonino in the lineup in the playoffs, so in playoff series. Are hoping that Kerfoot gets traded for Garland. I mean, I love Garland. Retain salary. Yeah, I would think that, I mean, it would have to be for more than Kerfoot, I think. All right, well, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Brody, you're not too much of a fan of the Sandin trade. Actually, I mean, you probably watch the Leafs better than I do, but I do like Sandin quite a bit. Giving up that first is a little aggressive, but I don't know. He's got lots of great years ahead of him. Defensemen take a little bit longer to get into their prime. But hey, you would probably know better than I do. Okay, so 25 votes here. Nicely done. 0, 56, 36, and 7. So really, this is going to be on the same level as the Avalanche. So this will probably slide them into the B tier for now. Okay, Washington, 0, 56, 36, and 7 with 25 votes. Their average score is 2.47. Given that it's not quite at 2.5 like it is for the Avalanche and above that, I'm going to put them at the front of the C tier. Next up, though, we've got the Boston Bruins. So I'm really curious to see what you guys think of this one. All right. The Leafs are going for a run. Aren't wasting time letting them mature. Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. You gotta absolutely, push the chips out there while Matthews is still under contract, right? So there you go. All right, next up, we got the Bruins. Here we go. We're gonna start a poll, and it's the Bruins. All right. Now, if you want to recap the moves that Boston has made so far, I'll pull that up right now. So, this goes back to the Orlov and Hathaway trade. So, in exchange for Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway, they gave up Craig Smith, but they wanted to offload him. He hasn't worked out in Boston. A first round draft pick for this year, a second for 2025, and a third for 2024. They also got Shane Bowers in exchange for Keith Kincaid, just goaltending depth. And they had to put Taylor Hall and also somebody else, I forget, on IR. And for that, they got Tyler Bertuzzi in exchange for a first and a fourth. Boston gets an S, especially with what they've done. I mean, already seeing what Orlov is doing for the defense, actually contributing offensively when that's not the reason why you got him in the first place. How could you not at least give them an A for this? I think this is amazing. And for them to swoop in on Bertuzzi, who is very affordable for them contractually. Yeah. When they had to put Hall on IR, I mean, that is just brilliant. It really is. It's Don Sweeney masterclass. All right. So we've got 24 votes. Let's give it about 15 seconds. So cast a vote if you haven't already. Bruins are winning the cup this year. We got lots of Devils fans recently joining us on our channel, and I love that. I mean, even though a lot of you know I want the Hurricanes, I would be very intrigued to see the Devils and the Bruins against each other in the playoffs in the conference final. Because stylistically, those are kind of two different teams. Not entirely different, but you have a lot of youth on one side and some good speed too. And the Bruins can just absolutely cripple you defensively. So I think that would be such a fun conference final. Got shiny objects that made them better. Yeah, Folino. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Senor Castellanos. All right. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. No surprise here, folks. They automatically get S tier, but I'm going to record their grade anyway, okay? Samuel, what's going on? Yeah, the Sharks are clowns. Yeah, it's been tough. Like I'm with a new regime, I'm willing to give them a little bit of wiggle room here, but it's absolutely frustrating, right? But it's not completely on Greer because he was put in a bad spot in the first place. He's not making it any easier right now, but the night is always darkest before the dawn. All right, how many votes do we have there? We had 29. Great. Okay. With an average score of 3.9, Boston, you are all alone in the S tier. But the Red Wings are going to be a really interesting one here, too, I think. Pareko rumored to LA. Oh, my God. Please no. Epilepsy. Hey, how you doing? Doing great. Happy Friday to you. Lonely Cake. Lonely Cake's here? Hey, Lonely Cake, welcome back. Hey, long time fan of the channel. All right. Let's put up a poll here. Okay, next up we got the Red Wings. Okay, we got around 50 people here. That's what I'm seeing. It's awesome hosting you on a Friday and what should be a holiday in North America. All right. Now, if you want to know what the Red Wings have done, they've done a hell of a lot. So, oh my God, where to start with these guys? They did get Jasper Weatherby from the Sharks in January, but we can throw that aside. So they dealt away Philip Hronik, who had one more year left on his deal, in addition to a fourth rounder. From Vancouver, they got a 2023 first, which is the Islanders pick, not Vancouver's. They also got a second round pick for this year, which is Vancouver's. So that one actually is pretty good for a second rounder. They sent away Tyler Bertuzzi, retaining some salary. They got a they got a first rounder for next year and a fourth for 2025. And they dealt away Jakub Vrana to the Blues this morning, pretty much for not too much. Palt, how we doing? Thanks for hopping in here and a happy Friday to you. Your watch says rebuild time for the Red Wings? Interesting. Are focused on their future, and they did a good job of that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like for them to still be competitive for a playoff spot at this point, that's good. That's a good benchmark. Don't forget they also signed Dylan Larkin long term. They've got 2 firsts in the draft this year and 3 seconds in what is supposed to be a really deep draft. So Eiserman once again just an excellent job putting his team in a position to succeed in the next 4 or 5 years easily. All right, we got 24 votes. Let's give you guys 15 more seconds, okay? Yeah, Stevie Y is a mastermind. All right, thank you so much for, of course, hanging out and being patient as we get through the most accurate way to rank and grade that you'll find here on YouTube. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. 24 votes. Bill, how you doing, man? Yeah, I mean, with so much buzz around the trade deadline, how can I not be live hanging out with you guys? All right, so in that poll, we had 24 votes, and we had 20% for S tier, 54 for B tier. We had 20 for C and 4 for the bottom two. Stevie Y, all-time GMs. He's still kind of, well, then again in Tampa, yeah, I would say he's probably like at least top 15. I don't really know too much about GMs before this era of hockey, to be honest with you, but Steve Yzerman has done an incredible job throughout his career. All right, 2054. You got to think about like how Tampa succeeded even when he left for Detroit. All right, an average grade of 2.86, and that is better than Colorado. So we're going to put them at the front of the B tier. Is that better than Vegas? Vegas graded out at 2.91. So the Red Wings are just behind them, and I might consider putting them in the A tier as we get through more teams, okay? All right, folks. Next up, Stevie White, overrated. Interesting. I'm here to rob you. I promise to be gentle. All right. Next poll. That's an interesting take there, Patrick. All right, next team we have is the Dallas Stars. Get ready. Okay, so the Dallas Stars, if you want to know what they've done so far, it was quiet, but they've been active as this week has progressed. Really, it all started with dealing Denis Gurianov to the Habs for Yevgeny Dodonov. And also, they have dealt Anton Hudobin and a second rounder for 2025. And in exchange, they did get Max Domi. He is a unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. The rankings look like the standings. Well, Detroit's pretty high up there. You hate Dallas? I used to hate Dallas because they had a very fierce rivalry with my Sharks. CJ, take it easy, man. Happy Friday, and let's see if the Penguins pick anybody else up. But I know you'll take care of Nick Bonino. Could Carlson be on the Yzerplan's radar? Yeah, I've kind of entertained that idea, Lonely Cake. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised if he pulled it off. Maybe at the draft, though. I don't know. He is kind of in position to do something like that, though. Sherry for Hull, Kerfoot, and Boston's first. Whoa, that's a very involved trade. I'm partial to the Stars, but I like the move. Surprised Nil could do anything with about $4 of cap space. Yeah, I mean, and he wouldn't necessarily have needed to do as much as he did if maybe Marchment was producing a little bit more. But on the flip side, he is getting more out of Ben and Sagan than I expected. Yeah, I don't even know how to dissect that deal. Sherry for Hull, Kerfoot, and Boston's first. Oh, from the Orlov trade. Interesting. That's that's still a decent deal for the Capitals to make if they get that first rounder for Sherry. So if I'm Brian McClellan, that's the GM over there, then I would accept that, I think. All right, guys, let's give this about 15 more seconds. We got 21 votes. So if you haven't sounded off yet, definitely cast your vote. The more votes we get, the more accurate a reflection of the community we have here. Was that like Yoda speak right there? They call that anastrophe, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know. All right. 23 votes. We're going to close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So we have 25 votes. Nicely done. We've got 11 for S or A, 23 for B, 43 for C. And that's probably where I'd have them, like C plus B minus range. 20% in bottom tiers. Okay. Let's give them an appropriate grade here. So they were at 11, 23, 43, and 20. With an average score of 2.19, the Stars are in the C tier ahead of Winnipeg. Are they ahead of Vancouver? Let's see. No, they're not. Okay. So they are right here, right now. Anybody remember that song from the 90s? All right. Next up, we got my team, the San Jose Sharks. Let's go, baby. All right. All righty. Here we go. Okay, so the Sharks. Now, I don't know if the Nemesnikov trade is going to be updated on here just yet. Oh, yeah, it is. Nice. Okay, you could go all the way back to the deal that they made with Colorado for Matt Nieto in January, and they got Kaut from that and Jacob McDonald. They also have dealt away Jacob Magna for a 4th-round draft pick, that going to the Seattle Kraken. The Timo Meier deal. The Sharks dealt away some other pieces in that, including a 5th-rounder for next year. They got Andreas Janssen. I know he likes to be Johnson. Fabian Zetterlund, Shakir Muhammadulin, who is supposed to be maybe like a good second pairing defenseman. That's kind of where he projects. They got the Devils' 1st-round draft pick this year, and they got a conditional 2nd-rounder for next year, which it probably will stay a 2nd-rounder. They got Henry Thrun from the Anaheim Ducks for a 3rd-round pick next year. Thrun's actually been almost a point per game player at Boston College, or at Harvard, Harvard, almost a point per game player as a defenseman. So that could actually be good eventually. And they just got a 4th-round draft pick for Nemesnikov. That hasn't been reported, but they did deal Mikey Asimont. So it was kind of like a trade and a flip. Just blow this team up. I mean, that's the thing. That's hopefully what they can do. It's just that, Couture, Carlson, Vlasic, Hurdle, those deals are completely immovable. Brody's going to put him at B. Bedard is waiting, says Samuel. Most likely. Frederick Allard. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Was he part of this deal? No, I don't think. All right. We've got 21 votes. I'll give you guys about 15 more seconds. Yes, Connor Bedard is waiting, though. There's this beautiful Photoshop picture of him in a Sharks jersey, too. All right. Let's close out the Sharks in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so out of 22 votes, we have, what is that? We have 4, 36, 45. And D tier was what, 13? Yeah, this pretty much reflects what I would grade the Sharks as. I don't think that I'd have them in C tier, but that would be at the end of the C tier pretty much. Or you could put them at the front of the D tier maybe. Let's see here. 4, 36, 45, and 13 with 22 votes. Average grade of, what is that? 2.24. So they actually do rank ahead of Dallas, but they're behind Vancouver. All right. Come on. There we go. A lot of C's so far. But again, we'll adjust this as we go along, okay? All right. Next up, we've got ourselves. The pain is great, but Bedard is greater. That's the best thing I've ever read. I love it. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Like last night was just, it was just atrocious. Anyway, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do it for a great pick and a deep draft. All right, Kraken are up next. Now, Constable was pointing out earlier that I I had communicated good context around the Kraken at the trade deadline. I said, "Hey, don't try to do too much. You're basically going to make the playoffs. You have lots of great draft picks. You have a bright future ahead. You're already playing with house money. Don't mortgage your future right now. You're going to get even better." So the Kraken, the only thing they've done so far is pick up Jacob Megna, who did play pretty well for the Sharks this season, and all they had to deal away was a fourth round draft pick. They still should have at least one piece, though. I mean, I think for depth purposes, yeah, that's fine. I don't think that they would be sacrificing all that much to get that. At the worst, maybe a third round draft pick. Yeah, it's house money. Hey, Bill, what's up? You got to run? Put a B for the abs? Yeah, that's basically, yeah, that's where they should end up more or less. Boring trades? Yeah, for sure. They need a face-off guy. Yeah, I don't know where they rank in face-off percentage. Have there been any other deals? All right. Yeah, no other deals from my phone, from what my phone is telling me. All right, how many votes do we have on Seattle, guys? We have 15 votes. All right. If you haven't cast a vote yet, go for it. I'll give you guys about 15 seconds. Hey, how we doing, Junie? Happy Friday. All right, we got 18 votes. Let's close this out in 5, 4. You still have a chance. 3. There we go. 2 and 1. All right. So we got 20 votes here, and we have 5%, 55, 20, and 20. All right. All right. Yeah, I mean, a B is pretty much what I would say too. Even though they didn't do anything, that was their strategy, right? So that means if we go to our grade sheet, 555, 2020, 2.45. Not quite at. That's interesting. That's still not exactly 2.5. How do they grade versus Washington? They're not quite as good as Washington. I think that I need to add more teams to the B tier. Okay. So I'm actually going to put Seattle and Washington up here. They are a little bit better than Columbus. I think that's a good place to draw the line, right? Meow. And Vegas, I'll consider Vegas in the A tier a little bit later. Next up is Arizona. Oh, it was an accidental click? Well, who knows? Somebody might have clicked D tier accidentally. So I'm sure it all balances out more or less. Okay. Next up, we got the Coyotes. I'm sure some people here will have a very enthusiastic vote here. Okay. S or A. Next up is B, C, or D, or F. Okay. All right. Let's look at the Coyotes. It's been an interesting one for sure. Ha ha ha. Okay. The Arizona Coyotes, lots of deals. I'm going to have to just summarize all these. They, of course, got the Shea Weber contract from Vegas. They were a broker in the Patrick Kane deal, and they got a third round pick for 2025 conditional. They got a 2026 third round pick after dealing Shane Gostisbehere, who is a free agent at the end of next year, or end of this year, I should say. In the Chychrun deal, they got a first round pick, a second for next year, and a second for 2026. They took on the Jakub Voracek contract for just about nothing. They got a sixth rounder as well for this year. And this morning, they dealt away Nick Bjugstad for a 2023 third round pick. That's about it. Coyotes' future should be good with all the draft picks. As long as they don't deal away all these other, as long as they don't deal away the prospects that they get from these trades, I think you could certainly say that. All right. Interesting. You guys seem to like this. We only have 12 votes so far, though. So I want as many opinions as we can get here, guys. So sound off in our poll. How long is Chickering going to be in Ottawa? Well, if they're going to be a good team, then he would play through his contract, which expires at the end of 2025. All right, about 15 more seconds here, okay? Coyotes should move. That's your opinion? Yeah, I mean, that's an opinion a lot of people have. And yeah, we'll leave it just about at that. Where would they go? All right. All right, let's close out Arizona in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I think Houston would be a good spot, though, for an NHL team. I think Kansas City would be good, too. Remember, Kansas City doesn't have an NBA team, so you don't have to worry about that competition since, the schedule for hockey and NBA is about the same. I'd like Kansas City. I know they got a chance back in the 70s, but that was very short-lived. Long time ago. Okay. Whalers. Nice. Two. How we doing? Favorite Megadeth song, says Shay. I'm actually not a big Megadeth fan, actually. I mean, maybe just Tornado of Souls for the solo. I love Crush 'Em. That's an awesome song. It makes for a really good arena song. Let's see here. And Symphony of Destruction was always kind of my favorite when I was younger. Anyway, okay, let's get a recording here. So we had 19 votes here. 21, 36, 26, 15. A tier for the Yotes. Hangar 18. Oh, yeah, Hangar 18 is pretty ridiculous, too. You got to love that. Got some metalheads in the chat. Horns up. But yeah, good point. Kansas City Scouts legend, Timo Meyer. What? All right, let's go to our sheet here to give the Coyotes a grade. So 21, 36, 26, 15, with a total of 19 votes. The Coyotes are joining the B tier, actually. Now, are they better than Washington? Yes, they are. Are they better than Colorado? Yeah, they are. Are they better than Detroit, though? I don't think so. I think Detroit's grading out higher. Yeah. So I'm putting the Coyotes in the B tier. And they're better than Washington, actually. And you know what, guys? Because there is a sizable gap here, I think we're going to actually upgrade some of these teams to the A tier for now. All right. We're going to get to our next team, and that is the Montreal Canadiens. How we doing? Good morning, Black Friday. Okay. Promises. I don't know if I've heard promises. If I've heard that. I'll have to take those recommendations, though, into consideration. Let's see here. Let's see here. Montreal. Alrighty. With the Florida Panthers out, man, it's not going to be any better with them missing their next 3 first-round draft picks. All right, so if you want to know what the Canadiens have done so far, let's take a look. Really, all they've done is get Denis Gurianov from the Stars in exchange for Yevgeny Dodonov, and they got Frederick Allard for Nathan Schnarr. I have no idea who that is. That's all I have right now, guys. Have they dealt anybody in the last few minutes? I don't think so. Arizona has fewer first-round picks than the Red Wings. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Stevie Y had a good deadline for the most part. The scientific process is breaking down. Coyotes were ahead of Colorado. Let me look at my formula. Arizona is a 2.59, and Colorado is a 2.56. Thank you so much for correcting me. Yeah, actually, you got that. Thank you for holding me to my word. There we go. That's much more accurate now. Okay. And I at the end of this, I'll double check my work. Okay. Thank you. Let's see here. What time is the deadline over? Let's see here. It's over at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Yeah, very boring deadline for the Habs for sure. All right. 13 votes though. I think we need a few more opinions, guys. Let's give it about 15 more seconds, okay? All right. Okay, here we go. Let's close this out. No strong opinions here so much. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're right, Patrick. Very soon. Very, very soon. Okay, 17 votes. And we have what? 0. B was 17. C was 52. And D was 29. Yeah, I would even consider D tier here. It's not like they stockpiled draft picks or anything like that. I'm sure they have a good draft situation anyway, but it is a bit underwhelming. Anyway, let's give them a grade. Montreal, they are 0, 17, 52, and 29. All right. A 1.84. Now, that's pretty bad. Is that worse than LA? Yes, it is actually. So LA or Montreal is going to go right between here and Florida. Florida is the worst grade and very well could go into the F tier. Okay. Next up, we've got ourselves start a poll. Our next team is the New York Rangers. Gee golly, I wonder. All right. To recap the New York Rangers, I think that a lot of you already know. Wow, this could go all the way back to February 9th. That was the Tarasenko and Mikola trade with the Blues. In exchange for Sammy Blais, they dumped him. They got the Blues get a first rounder and a fourth rounder. They got back Tyler Mott. Don't forget that. They dealt Vitaly Kravtsov for just about nothing. And of course, they dealt for Patrick Kane. And there is a conditional second round draft pick, a 2025 first. There's some other stuff in there, but I'm not going to get into it. But the Rangers also gave away a 2025 third so that the Coyotes could take on part of his deal. Boo hiss, says Toria. Oh, Patrick was not impressed. Are you not entertained? All right, we've got 19 votes. I'm sure we can get at least 25 here, guys. So cast a vote. I'll give you about 15 seconds. Want as many votes as we can get here. Hot take, Bill Zito needs to be fired. I mean, it's hard not to say that right now. It's not hard to say that right now. That's for sure. They're missing a first in the next 3 drafts. That's insane. It sucks because they were so fun to watch too. And you can also consider the fact that Paul Maurice is the head coach right now. You got to give him an S or an A for going all in. I gotta say yeah. I gotta say yeah too. It's not like they gave up the worst return for those players too. Hey, Bruin, how we doing? How's Cortana? Well, see for yourself. Cortana is doing great. She's now 2 months post-op on her knee, and today she was running around with another dog in the park. So she is doing much, much better. So thank you. Yes, Princess Flora. I am a Sharks fan. Die hard. Even through the bitter times like now. Okay, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Kulikov is going to the Penguins. Interesting. We could maybe consider re-ranking them too. Kane was never going anywhere else. That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought about that myself. All right, so what are the percentages here? We had 24. All right, we had 79 for S tier. We had 12 for B tier and 4 and 4 for the other ones. Okay. You wouldn't re-rank the Penguins. The Teddy Blueger trade was bad for them? Yeah, I mean, he was defensively pretty sound, right? Okay, so we have New York. Let's see here. They are 79, 12, 4, and 4. It's a 3.64. Now the Bruins were a 3.9, but considering that the Vegas Golden Knights were a 2.91, they weren't even a 3. I'm going to give the Rangers the benefit of the doubt and put them next to the Bruins in the S tier. Next up, we've got the Blackhawks, another interesting one. All right, pull. All right. So let's take a look at the Blackhawks, okay? They've been very, very busy. All right, we've got ourselves. Check this out. Look at all this, guys. Wow, I can't even keep track of this. Okay. So they acquired Nikita Zaitsev and got a second and a fourth. They dealt away Jack Johnson. They got a first rounder for 2025 and a second rounder in 2026 by dealing away Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty and some depth picks. Of course, they dealt away Patrick Kane and got a second round pick, a fourth. They got a first in there too. I mean, there were. Oh, actually, no, I don't think they did, or did they? I'm sorry if I can't remember. This is very difficult to digest while I'm trying to get through all these. They dealt away, or they got Anders Bjork for futures, and then they got a second rounder and Anton Hudobin for Max Domi. That's pretty much the bulk of it. They didn't even trade Taves. Well, because Taves is like, he's basically not going to play the rest of the season. He's like out long term because of COVID related complications. Kulikov for Brock McGinn. Good. I know that some people wanted McGinn out because he just couldn't. He was basically a black hole for offense. We got 16 votes for Chicago. Definitely, I think we can get more. So cast your vote if you haven't already. I want as many opinions as possible here. So about 15 seconds. Let me get your thoughts on Chicago here. Pardon. Pretty much just an AHL team. Yeah, I mean, and guys, if you want to see what Chicago's draft situation looks like going forward, like look at this. They've got 4 second rounders this year, and they've got a first rounder, or they got 2 first rounders each of the next 3 years. They are conditional, but they very well could pan out as first rounders. So they still have a pretty damn good draft situation ahead of them. A dub. All right, here we go. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Hopefully without Bedard. I hear you, man. But yeah, they're very much in that mix. All right, 20 votes. We had S or A was 20, 20. Interesting. Okay. I personally would give them probably about a B. I don't think they got the best of returns, but they put themselves in pretty good position. Okay, so 20, 40, 20, 20. Okay, so with a 2.6, that puts them just ahead of the Coyotes at the front of the B tier. I think that's pretty appropriate. There we go. All right, Nashville will be our next team. Nashwaukee. I can't even read that. That scrambles my brain so much. All right. Oops. I accidentally hit QA. Let's see here. B, C, D, or F. Okay. Predators. They've also had a pretty busy trade deadline. So let's take a look here. This all goes back to the Nino Niederreiter deal. They got a second round pick for him, but he had one more year left on his deal at just $4 million. They got a whole bunch of picks for Tanner Jeannot. They got a third for this year. They got a fourth, a fifth also for this year. They got a second for 2024 and a 2025 first round pick, which is conditional, top 10 protected. They also dealt away Matthias Ekholm, who had a little bit of term left on his deal, and a 6th rounder. In return, they get Tyson Barrie and a first for this year, the Edmonton Oilers first, in addition to Reed Schaefer, and a 4th for the following year. And they also dealt away Mikhail Granlund for a 2nd round draft pick. Give Nash an A because of the Jeannot trade. I say yeah. I absolutely think you should. I would easily give these guys an A. You know, they realize that this core of players isn't working out that well, even though they have some more term on Johansson and Duchesne. But they did as well as they could, I think. I don't know if I'd give them an S, but I mean, at least like a high A. Brock McGinn for Dmitry Kulikov. Yep. Oh, and a 3rd. Interesting. Any Jets fans here? Let me know what your thoughts on Kulikov are. Or wait, am I confusing him with somebody else? Wait, where was Kulikov playing? I'm sorry. I'm getting him confused with somebody else. The Ducks. Okay. I was thinking of Kulak. Too similar. Sharks need to be dropped to a D. Yeah, I know you haven't been a fan of their move so far. Hey, I'm doing my best here. All right. Anaheim. Okay. Well, once you go to Anaheim, I'm never going to remember you anyway. All right. Let's see here. Hey, Bruin, happy birthday to your grandma. Hope you have a great rest of your day in celebration. Nashville got more for Jeannot than Meyer. I mean, it's pretty damn close, isn't it? All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So this one is 19. And what is that? 36, 31. All right. This grades out pretty darn well. So we had 19 votes. Oops. Wish we had 129. Let's see here. 36, 31, 31, and 0. All right, an average score of 2.99. That goes at the front of the A tier. And that's exactly where I would put them as well relative to most of these other teams. So great job there, everybody. Really, really good job there. Okay. All right. Next up is going to be, the Toronto Maple Leafs. What's going on? All right. Maple Leafs. It's your birthday? Wait, did I read that totally incorrectly? Oh, see your grandma for your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, thanks for stopping in here. I'm honored. All right. Well, happy birthday to you, Bruin. Chat, wish him a happy birthday before he bounces. All right. I mean, God, you got some great early presents in the form of Tyler Bertuzzi and Dmitry Orlov, did you not? All right. Let's start a poll here, and we've got ourselves the Leafs. All right. Here we go. Way to go, chat. Okay, Maple Leafs, if we need to recount all of their deals, I mean, this is pretty complex as well. I'll do what I can. Okay, the Maple Leafs. This goes back to the Ryan O'Reilly deal. And they also got Noel Acciari, essentially dealing a 1st and a 3rd and a 2nd. The 2nd is for next year. They also got Jake McCabe and Sam Lafferty and some depth picks in exchange for their 2025 first round pick and a 2026 second round pick. They picked up Eric Gustafsson for some offense on defense and a first round pick, which is Boston, so it'll be at the end of the round. In exchange, they dumped Rasmus Sandin. They also got a 3rd round draft pick for Pierre Engvall, whom they sent to the Islanders, and they picked up Luke Schenn again, sending a 3rd round pick for this year to the Vancouver Canucks. Yep. We do know the deal here for Kulikov. So Bonino and Kulikov are Penguins as it stands now. Yeah, getting that first is a pretty nice scoop. Pretty nice scoop. All right, we got 18 votes on Toronto. I think we can get at least another. We could probably get at least 10 more votes if we're talking about the Leafs. So cast your vote, guys. I'll give you about 15 seconds to do so. Really depends on what they do with the first. Not completely sold on it. I mean, it could be a trade that works out really well for both teams. All right, let's close this out. Yeah. Gustafsson does not play defense. Not. I mean, he plays defense, but he's not the best at it. Let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Generally, it looks like you guys are fans of the moves here. He's a big boy. Oh, I didn't know that. Leafs were the best trade deadline they've had in years. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree too. All right. The Sharks only getting a 7th for Bonino. Yeah, I have no idea what. I almost think that there are additional terms for that, but if not, that just looks horrible. So I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Yeah, they're going all in because Matthews is a UFA at the end of next year. Exactly. I completely agree with you on that as well. That's all we're going to hear if they lose in the first round again. Okay, let me assign a grade here. Let me just write this down. 26 votes. Well done, guys. So, guys and gals, I should say. 61, 11, 23, and 3. Okay. One person wanted to give them a D. 61, 11, 23, and 3. The total of 26 votes. A score of 3.26. Now, the Rangers were like a 3.6. So I'm not going to put the Leafs just yet in that tier, but they are. Wait, where did the Leafs go? Whoops. They went in the A tier. I'm going to put them at the front of the A tier for right now, but they have a small chance of going up to the S tier. All right. Next up, we're going with the Devils. Speaking of teams that made a splash at this year's deadline. All right. Hitman. That's what's up. All right. Gary, Sabres did nothing. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I thought that they should absolutely go all in to make the playoffs because they have so much in the way of bargaining chips. They have lots of cap space. Why not? It'll be interesting, though. I could see them making a bid for Patrick Kane in the offseason. Okay, to recap the Devils, it's actually pretty simple. It comes down to 1 or 2 moves, but they were one of them was huge. So there was the Curtis Lazar deal this morning for a 4th rounder next year. But of course, they sent a 1st rounder, a 2nd, and Zetterlund and Muhammad Dulin, who, again, should be an NHL defenseman on a 2nd pair, perhaps. But, of course, they get Timo Meier. They have not extended Timo Meier just yet. He is an RFA at the end of the season. But I have to kind of make the same point about the Devils that I did about the Kraken. The Devils weren't supposed to be this good at this point. So I think they're playing with house money as well. For them to be in this position right now is fantastic. So that's why I would give them a super high grade. And the highest prospect that they dealt was Muhammad Dulin. They didn't deal Mercer or Holtz. They didn't deal Luke Hughes or Simon Nemetz or even Seamus Casey. They really did get great value for this. And now they have a chance to possibly, who knows, at the very least, they're going to make the first round against the Rangers at the least a living hell, I think. I cannot wait to see those two teams go against each other. So let me know your thoughts on this deal. We've got 21 votes. We got 22. I'll give you guys about 20 more seconds, so definitely cast a vote if you have yet to do so. Oh, whoa. Interesting. The compensation from an offer sheet would be what? 3 first-round draft picks? Something like that? That's actually a really good point. I think you're the first one to actually raise that, at least from what I've seen. Great point. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I don't know if they'll quite get there, John. I know the Canes have they looked like crap against Vegas recently, but hey, they've proven me wrong all season, so it's fun to see them. Like they're just a fun team to watch. Very different from the Devils teams of past. All right, they're only 1 point behind. Are there games in hand for either team? I haven't checked the standings since like a couple days ago. Let's see here. 27 votes, 62%, 25, 11, and 0. Just one game in hand. Okay. That's not bad. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay, New Jersey. 62, 25, 11, and 0 with a total of 27 votes. A 3.45. That's not as good as the Rangers, but it is a decent gap between them and the Maple Leafs. And so, with that being said, I will vault them up into the S tier. And really, I think they belong there because they got their big fish. They got the biggest name at the trade deadline, and they didn't even have to give up as much as an offer sheet would warrant. So, yeah, they certainly belong there. Ottawa is our next team, a team that has also made a splash at this deadline. Okay. So, Ottawa, let's take a look here at the Senators. All right. JT Miller was being looked at. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that contract being unloaded to somebody else, but hey, weird stuff has definitely happened at the trade deadline, right? Instant S because of Chikrin. Yeah, another team that I thought that they were going to be closer to a playoff spot this year. It took a while, right? But they had injuries, so that held them up a little bit. Good teams find a way to overcome them. But yeah, they get some term with Chikrin too. They get him for 2 years, only a $4.6 million cap hit. If you want to take a look at the other moves that Ottawa has made, I'll bring that up here. Okay, so the only other moves were Tyler Mott. The Senators got Julien Gauthier and a 7th. I really think that the Rangers made out so well with that Tyler Mott deal. They didn't have to give up very much. They gave Zaitsev to the Hawks, but that was a cap dump. They sacrificed a 2nd for this year to get rid of Zaitsev and a 4th in the future. And for Chikrin, they had to give up a 1st rounder, a 2nd rounder in 2024, and a 2nd rounder in 2025. And actually, I think that they made out really well with that. Scoring has been up and down, but a good team. Yeah, I mean, when they get their players together, when they have the lines forming as they should be, then yeah, they could definitely have some of the best firepower in the NHL. And it's only going to get better as these teams mature. Raymond wants to give the Sens an A. Yeah, I think that would be, I'd give them like an A minus maybe. Great job with the Chikrin deal. They did have to give up a 2nd to get rid of Zaitsev. That does suck, but now they're obviously coming out of the rebuild. And they got Gauthier. I don't really know too much about Gauthier, but I do like Tyler Mott quite a bit. 24 votes. Nicely done. Let's give it about 15 more seconds. So cast your vote if you've yet to do so. Gives me an opportunity to see if we have any other big deals. Oh my God, William Eklund. William Eklund is going to make his season debut for the Sharks tomorrow, which is wonderful. All right. Are equal, roughly speaking. So maybe the Sens sent a little bit too, or maybe they had to deal away too much to get rid of Zaitsev, but they got Chikrin for a bit of a steal. Yeah, that's fair. He's fast. Well, that's good because the Sens, I would imagine, are going to play fairly up-tempo. Eklund's going to be awesome. Yeah, him and Bordelot have done a good job as rookies in the AHL. I'm glad they got time down there for sure. Nemesnikov went to the Jets for a 4th. Yep, I'm glad that the Sharks got something for him. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, no big deals so far. All right, Ottawa, you guys like the moves they've made so far? 27 votes, well done. 51, 33, 11, and 3. So basically, they're going to grade about the same as New Jersey did. Okay. So Ottawa, 51. They're going to maybe be right next to the Leafs, though. Let's see here 33, 11, and 3. A 3.28. So, yeah, they're going to be at the front of the A tier in this case. All right. Let's put Ottawa just ahead of Toronto. That should be a really fun rivalry looking at next year, I think. All right. Calgary. Oh, boy. Calgary. My goodness. My goodness. My preseason Stanley Cup prediction was Flames over Rangers, I'm pretty sure. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Unbelievable, man. Doobie doobie. Huh? Yeah, pretty much, man. What do we do about Calgary? We should just start calling them Calgary. Let's see here. Calgary. They have flamed out. They have made absolutely no deals so far at this deadline. Did they make a trade? Nope. They have not made a trade in 2023. The Calgary Lames. Yeah, pretty much. Nothing at all. Yes, T. You are correct. They have done nothing. No trades. This goes back to the Monahan deal in August of last year. Who voted B? They haven't done anything. Well, who knows? Maybe somebody thinks that they still have a playoff run, but you don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers on the roster. The only move they made was Kachuk. Yeah, that's going back to free agency last year to not sign him. Yeah. See, Florida's lucky that they've stayed in the D tier this whole time. And I think this is the reason why. How crazy is that? I mean, now granted, Matthew Kachuk has been awesome for Florida, even though they have been very underwhelming. And Uyghur's been overall pretty good for Calgary as well. But certainly not Huberdeau so much. He just hasn't been a fit over there. It sucks, man. Like, I loved Huberdeau in Florida. All right, 22 votes. Let's give you guys about 15 seconds. A long time ago it was. Is Hoobs really this bad? It's funny, John. I had made a video in the offseason about like the top 25 most likely Hall of Famers in the NHL right now. And at the very front, or well, not the very front, but at the very back of the list at 25th was Huberdeau. I said, Huberdeau to me is a surefire Hall of Famer. Yeah, about that. Anyway, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Double D. And it's interesting because you've seen teams like the Capitals, the Predators, the Blues, they've leaned right into it. They said, okay, we're not good enough to win around this year. Even if we made the playoffs, let's reload this thing. Let's retool. Calgary hasn't done a damn thing. Alrighty. Maybe it's the system there. And yeah, we know Sutter can be an amazing coach, but it doesn't fit. His system doesn't necessarily fit the kinds of players that you have on that roster right now. And you look at like the drop off for Mangiapane, it's been shocking to say the least, right? The person who voted S tier is probably an Oilers fan. I'm willing to bet. Let's see here. That was what, 83%? 7-3. I can believe this. It's just amazing. Or Tree Living. Who do you fire? Tree Living or who do you fire? Him or Sutter? Or do you just completely clean house? All right, let me update the grade sheet here. I'll give you a number on this, right? All right, 1.22. For context, Florida, who is the worst graded team, was 1.65. So there is a huge gap between those two. And so, fittingly, the Flames have to burn it all to the ground. Okay, next up, we've got ourselves the Islanders. Kind of an interesting one here in that I said they should be sellers. They had players that they could sell. I think they're one of those teams that even if they make the playoffs, unless Sorokin is in God mode, this team isn't going to win a round. But of course, Lou Lamoriello does the exact opposite. Although Horvat is still going to be good for a number of years, but they need to start selling off some players. Anyway, let me pull up the Islanders so we can take a look at their deals. So far, the Islanders, they've gotten Bo Horvat for Anthony Beauvillier, Atu Ratu, a 2023 first-round draft pick. They also acquired Pierre Engvall from the Leafs for a 2024 third-round pick. The Blues at least made moves. Yeah, absolutely. Does True Living not get signal in the Saddledom? Good one. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. Yeah, who do you fire first if you're going to fire somebody, True Living or Sutter? This year they made moves to set them up for decent success next year. My thing is that like they've just got these contracts where they've got Ross Johnston for like a couple more years. They've got Kyle Clutterbuck still under contract. They've got like Paul Mary still under contract. Like I think they need some new blood in there. They need to get I would rather them have more star talent and less of these kind of role players who can be kind of shuffled in and out of an NHL lineup, in my opinion. And they've got those guys under contract for multiple years. I really just don't see eye to eye with Lamoriello. They gave up quite a bit for Romanov. All right. Okay, 19 votes. Let's give it about 15 more seconds for the Isles. Is the deadline over? It will be at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Frosty. You like the Engvall trade? Horvat's great. Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that those guys are still young enough to where they can be good when if the Islanders were to like properly retool or reload, those players could still be good, right? So I can see it from that standpoint. But the thing is that I think that Lamoriello should have been actually trading away a couple of players after bringing a couple new ones in. Don't trade away a first in Atu Ratu, and Beauvillier is already having a good time in Vancouver. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So here we have 22 votes. And what is that? 4, 50, 40, and 4. Okay. All right. So let me give the Islanders a grade. I would be in the C tier here. It would be kind of like, I'd say a C, just about dead even. Kind of meh to me, but not horrible. I was much more critical of Lamoriello last year. Let's see here. 4, 50, 40, and 4. Okay, a 2.5 right even. So that basically gives me editor's choice here. I'm going to make an editorial call. 2.5 is dead average. And to me, I'm going to put the Islanders at the front of the C tier to reflect that. Not in the B tier, not quite. By the way, the Montreal Canadiens are the ones who are getting the 5th round draft pick in the Nick Bonino trade. I no idea what the hell the Sharks are doing there. Nice job, though, for Kent Hughes. All right, next up, we've got the Lightning. Ooh. Tampa Bay. Watch the Kraken win the Cup. Yeah, I kind of like that philosophy. I would love to see Seattle win it. If we're talking about teams in the West, I think I'm probably cheering for them the most. I mean, I basically live in Kraken territory too. All right, let's go with the Bolts. Or A, B, C, D, or F. He doesn't know what he's doing. All right, next up, we've got the Lightning. So to recap, First of all, they did get Mikey Asimont from the Sharks in exchange for Vladislav Nemesnikov. But the big one, of course, is Tanner Jeannot from the Predators. The Lightning dealt away their first rounder in 2025, a second in 2024, and then for this year, a third, a fourth, and a fifth, and Cal Foot. Hey, Robbie, how we doing? Robbie, oye, como va? Thanks for great attitude about the Kraken. Well, I mean, you're kind of lucky with me being here. And my Sharks being absolute hot garbage. Now bring back the Sonics, damn it. Then I could actually be a pseudo Seattle sports fan. Yeah, I mean, here's my take on this. Jeannot, the way he played last year, that's the kind of player that you want him to be in Tampa. They always find a way to make things work, even if they give up a lot. They did such a good job with Hagel and especially, I think, Nick Paul, getting Goodrow for their cup runs a couple years in the past. I think they're going to find a way to get the best out of Jeannot, but still, that haul is huge. So I can't give them anything more than at the very most a B. I would probably put them at the end of the B tier here. But you also have to credit them for doing something because the Leafs made a ton of moves as well, and that's their first round opponent. So many ways that you can look at this, right? Anyway, we'll give you guys about 15 more seconds, okay? So sound off if you haven't already. They spent too much. Yeah, I think double D, I'd agree with you too. Looks like a bad deal on paper. I mean, why wouldn't they have gotten like James Van Riemsdyk instead? Leafs are going to beat Tampa. I mean, on paper they have it in their capabilities for sure. Carolina is in trouble. Yeah, Keck, I have a similar feeling. I think that team needed a guy like Jeannot. They needed somebody nasty who can also help on the power play. If they would have gotten Meyer, that would have been huge. I think they should have really made a more serious push, but apparently Mike Greer turned down some really good offers from a couple of teams that were probably better than what he got. But yeah, that's a team that I think could be in trouble as well. Even though I'm also rooting for Carolina this year. I'm a Sharks fan, but I want Brent Burns to raise the Stanley Cup. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. JVR is horrible. I mean, he plays for the Flyers. That doesn't help. And that cap hit wasn't that great either. Let's see here. All right, 12 for the S tier, 50 for B, 33 for C, and 4 at the end. I'm surprised only one person basically voted them to be in the F tier. All right. Let's go to Tampa. So 12, 50, 33, and 4. So Tampa ends up with a score of 2.68. That's pretty good. Is that better than Chicago? Let me check. What did Chicago get? Chicago had a 2.6. What about Detroit? What did they get? Detroit has a 2.86. So there's still a bit of a gap. So I will put Tampa at the front of the B tier. You can't see it, but that's not my fault. All right. We have, 6 teams left. Next up is the Oilers. Yeah. Das Reich, you are entirely correct. All right. Here we go. Oilers, you are up next. All right. So Edmonton, to recap their trade deadline. Let me pull this up on my screen here. Okay. Edmonton dealt away Jesse Puljujärvi for Patrick Puistola, who is basically turning into a point per game player in Finland. So that's actually pretty good. He's not like a highly rated prospect, but that will change, I think, in the offseason. They dealt away Tyson Barrie, a first rounder for this year, and a fourth for next year in Reed Schaefer to get Matthias Ekholm, who does have a little bit of term on his contract, and a depth pick. And they also got Nick Bjugstad from the Lightning, essentially for a third rounder this year. 6'6", Nick Bjugstad is. Yeah, I agree with you, Keck. Ekholm is so underrated. Yeah, I like this acquisition for them because it gives them a little bit better like defensive depth. Tony Sund to Montreal. I think he was a former Shark at one point. Thank you for keeping us updated there. You think the Oilers lost with Puljujärvi? Interesting. I like this other guy who's playing in Finland though, but will that translate well to the game in North America? They don't get an offensive defenseman. Well, that gives more opportunity to Evan Bouchard, who I haven't, I can't follow each team that much in the regular season, but when I saw Bouchard in the playoffs last year, I thought he was awesome. He looked like a top pairing offensive defenseman. He did, I think. So if he can get back to that form, and then Ekholm adds a little bit of offensive upside, then the Oilers could be really coming out with a win. Liga's low scoring too. Yeah, good point. We have lives. Well, all of you do. I don't though. I'm just an avatar. All right. So how many votes do we have here for the Oilers? We have 24. Let's wrap this up in 15 seconds. Liga is kind of low comp. Yeah, but definitely below the SHL and the KHL too. And Barry had a really good year too, so you can't underscore that, right? Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we have a total of 25 votes. Well done. Got 40. Wow. I'm surprised to see the Oilers this high. I'd at least consider giving them a B though. All right. So let's take a look at Edmonton, right? 40, 36, 11, 11. All right, 3.01. That ranks them ahead of Vegas. And it actually ranks them just ahead of Nashville, but not quite where Toronto is. That's still good enough to go in the A tier, though. Right there. Ba-boom. All right, next up, we've got the Minnesota Wild. All right. Let's look at the Wild. Hold up. Okay, so they got a 4th-round draft pick in the future for taking on some Ryan O'Reilly salary. They also got a 5th-round pick for this year for taking on some Dmitry Orlov salary. Their big moves were getting Marcus Johansson in exchange for a 3rd in 2024, and they dealt away a 5th for this year from that Orlov deal for Gustav Nyquist. Nyquist is injured right now, but if he comes back for the playoffs, then yeah, he fits into the middle 6, and that's precisely what you get out of Marcus Johansson as well. He's had a pretty good year in Washington, actually. Reimer on Edmonton over Jake Allen. Oh, is Jake Allen getting dealt, or are you just saying if that were the case? God, I wish that we got rid of Reimer last year because he was awesome last year. Like he was better, much better than his numbers indicated. But this year he's been bad, and he's always injured too. Anyway, how many votes do we have here? 14 on the Wild. So let's get as many votes as we can. Good asset management, waiting on Minnesota for a big. Yeah, I kind of agree with you in that sense too. I normally am not the biggest fan of Bill Guerin's moves, but these to me are fine just from an overall depth standpoint. But yeah, I almost feel like they need a little bit more punch. I don't know. They, of course, lost Fiala in the offseason, so I do kind of come from that standpoint. They never found anybody to replace him because Marco Rossi isn't ready for that just yet, even though Boldy took another step forward. But, Guerin's returns always pay off much better than I expect. No one's going to take on Jake Allen. Yeah, Jake Allen's, that's a contract you wouldn't want because he's got like 2 more years on that, I think. All right, we've got 17 votes. Let's give you guys 10 more seconds here. They need a better complement for Kaprizov. Yeah. I mean, Zook's awesome, but as like a top line stud, not as much, right? Okay, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Besser, yeah. I don't know if Besser's ever going to be what he was his rookie season, but I mean, to see him in Minnesota would be great since he's from there. And, just a real good dude. Let's see here. 11, 27, 61, and 0. The good thing for Minnesota is they haven't touched any of their top prospects, though. Let's see. Montembeau. Yeah, Montembeau's done a nice job almost resurrecting his career a little bit. All right. So we've got just a couple, 4 more teams after this. Let me plug in Minnesota here into our rankings. We've got what? 11, 27, 61. Oh, wait, 61. And 0. Okay. All right. So with a score of 2.47, where does that put the Minnesota Wild? Let me take a look here. We had like a 2.45, I think, earlier. Yeah. Seattle got a 2.45. Washington was 2.47 as well. So we have a tie between Minnesota and Washington. I personally like what Washington did more. So I'll put the Wild between Seattle and Washington. There we go. Look at that. It's all balancing out for the most part. Got 4 more teams left. One of them is the Buffalo Sabres. Let's go to Buffalo. All right. Now, Buffalo, I know they haven't really done anything major. Future considerations for Anders Bjork. They got a 3rd round pick for Eric Portillo. The signing rights for that prospect. I don't even know who he is really, but they picked something up, so that's good. They got Riley Stillman for Josh Bloom. I don't really know. That's like basically a minor league deal. And that's about it. So Buffalo, lots of cap space, a lot of prospects, but they decided not to get aggressive here. You like UPL? You think they could be working on something? They don't need it's funny because they could get Erik Karlsson if they wanted. They have the cap space. I know they shouldn't do it though, with obviously Dahlin and Power back there. Gets an A tier, not doing much was the right move. I think it was more right for them to do that than I don't know. I think it was a missed opportunity, but like I could respect it for them not doing too much. I just think that they should have done enough to like easily get it into the playoffs as a wild card team to finish the season with 95 points. Even if they get their asses kicked, it'd be a good experience for that young group, I think. So yeah, I think you can argue in a couple ways. Dahlin Karlsson, yeah, that would be crazy. But having 2 Dahlin's offensively gifted. He's a great all-around defenseman, right? But sometimes those pairings don't always work out too well. It's hard to find the right partner for Karlsson, that's for sure. They're saving the cap space for Kane. Hey, that's very fair. And if you want to consider that as part of your vote, by all means, that's a great way to look at it. Take them all. Hey, who knows? Maybe one day Couture could get dealt to Buffalo, but we'd have to retain some salary. That's the thing that sucks. Couture is a fan of the Buffalo Bills, and he grew up in that area, on the other side of the border, of course. Adding players just in general could disrupt things. Yeah, I mean, I could be looking at this incorrectly too. Yeah, they're a very fascinating team going forward. And it's great. It's awesome to see that like Buffalo's finally going to be good. Detroit's finally going to be good. Ottawa's going to finally be good. Yeah, Karlsson without Burns. Yeah, I kind of look at it that way, especially when they actually played together on the power play. That just never worked. Anyway, we got 17 votes. Let's give it about 15 more seconds. If you haven't cast a vote yet, please do so. Yeah, right. Eastern Conference. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's close this out in about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. All right. So in this case, the Sabres look like they'll probably be in C tier. Yeah, Keck. Larkin extended at 8 years, 8.7 million annually. I think that's pretty much fair for both teams. Larkin got himself a good contract, I think. All right. So we got what, 17 votes? Um, all right. Let me record this among our grades here. We got 11, 29, 47, and 11. And a total of a 2.36. How does that rank against the Islanders? I want to know. Islanders got, let's see here. They got 2.5 exactly. So this team is going in the C tier. How about Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh was 2.29. St. Louis was also the same, I think. Columbus was, pardon me, was 2.31. Okay, so Buffalo is going right here. All right, Carolina, the Hurricanes. Carolina. Yeah. Larkin was not happy to see for Tuesday go. That's for sure. God, could you imagine Larkin as a Bruin as well? Even like in the offseason, right? All right, so we got the Carolina Hurricanes next. Now let's pull up what they've done so far. The Hurricanes, all they've done is get Jesse Puljujärvi in exchange for a prospect who, as we said earlier, is doing well in Finland. And also they dealt a 2026 third rounder to Carolina for Shane Gostisbehere. You like the Pulju acquisition? Doesn't Carolina have a ton of cap space with Pacioretty on IR? Let's take a look, okay? Right now, they don't actually have any projected cap space. I don't know why that is. I'm kind of confused by that. Let's see. Yeah, because they've got Pacioretty on IR. They took $3 million in the Puljujärvi deal, though, and Gostisbehere was at about $4.5 million. So that makes up for Max Pacioretty. What? Wait. I'm sorry. Are you? But actually, I thought you were a Panthers fan, right? Or am I totally? Oh, keep coming to our games. It's a U tree. Okay, interesting. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut, Axiom. I can't seem to pick up on that one. I haven't followed all of his videos, though, for hockey, unfortunately. I love his channel, though. He's a huge reason why I'm here, honestly. Justin, what's going on? I'm giving them an A. They're not buyer. They're smart with the acquisitions. I actually would give them. I would give them a bad grade. I think they missed out when you see what the other teams in the division are doing. I think that they haven't fixed their power play yet, especially with Pacioretty out. Okay. Especially, yeah, exactly what Ayers is saying here, who is a Hurricanes fan. If you couldn't tell by the name, right? All right, how many votes do we have here? 17. Okay, I'll give you guys 15 seconds. Let's try to get as many votes as we can here. Yeah, John. Right on. Yeah, I just messaged John just to say hello and see what he was thinking about the Bruins deals. He seems pretty happy about them. Yeah. Next patch with a hurdle type player. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. You know, they could have added some more center depth. They didn't have to necessarily make it a winger. So I actually would give them a D actually. Sorry, Don Waddell. I mean, I love the Hurricanes, but to me, this was a move I a need arising in this team a lot earlier than the trade deadline, I think. But hey, it's all up to you guys. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But yeah, some people think that they didn't need to do all that much. All right. And I mean, first and foremost, they are a defensive team, right? So if their goaltenders are relatively healthy, they've got a chance to compete with some of the best teams out there. But I am concerned if they have to go against like New Jersey or New York and then go against Boston. It's like, can they really do that with this team? I just don't know. I'm hoping so though. Anyway, 1758. Let's see here, 17 and 5. Okay. 17, 58, 17. All right. 2.81. That's actually a pretty good grade. That is, what was Tampa? Tampa was 2.68. So that actually is a dividing line because the Red Wings were at 2.86. So at 2.81, Hurricanes are going to go in the A tier. Is it really that good? I think my math is correct here. Let's see here. Is this a trade? Gotta keep a tab on these things. Okay. Anybody who was on waivers yesterday has cleared. All right. Anaheim is next. No, I'm sorry. I can't give Carolina an A. Even though they grade out better than Tampa, I think they're still in the B tier. I'll editorialize that. Okay, we got Anaheim and Philadelphia last. Nemesnikov is a Jet. Yep. Once again for a 4th rounder. People are still underestimating New Jersey. I mean, like I said, I've been saying, I really do want to see those two teams in the conference final. Like, just if we could have that happen right now, that'd be awesome. Even though I'm rooting for Carolina, right? But I would love to see those two types of teams battle each other. I think that would be a really interesting matchup. O'Reilly would have fit the Hurricanes. Oh, yeah. With how defensively responsible he is, you bet. All right. Here we go. We're going to go to next team. It is the Ducks. All right, let's get to Anaheim, okay? I just back. Okay. Wait, how am I on Anaheim right now? That was weird. That was random. Okay, so Anaheim, if I look at their trade history, we'll pull up deals that they made. So they have they got Josiah Slavin in exchange for Hunter Drew. I really don't know those players. They got a 3rd rounder for next year from San Jose for a prospect who wasn't going to sign with the Ducks, but he is playing pretty well at Harvard. I think that could be potentially a good deal for both teams. And then they acquired Dylan Sikura from the Hawks in exchange for Maxim Golod. And then the Brett Kulak deal, not Kulak, I'm sorry, Kulikov. I always get those guys confused. Dmitry Kulikov, and I know that the Ducks got like a 2nd or a 3rd for him, and Brock McGinn. The only thing I think that's counting against the Ducks here is that Chicago and San Jose made themselves noticeably much worse by dealing away players. So Anaheim is not guaranteed Bedard or, even 2nd in the draft. But I mean, will they still finish bottom 5? Absolutely. All right. Yeah, just 11 votes. I know we're dropping in viewership here. It's been 2 hours and 12 minutes here. So that does explain something. But yeah, if we can get as many votes as possible, that'd be wonderful, guys. I'll give you about 15 seconds, all right? Ducks could get Mishkov. Right. They'll definitely be in those kinds of runnings. Toronto is going for Jacob Markstrom. Really, Chris? Do you have a source for that? I'd be curious to know who's pointing that out. Sharks would be the worst if they didn't go to overtime. Well, how about if they played every game on the road? Then they would actually probably be like 7th or 8th in the 7th or 8th worst in the NHL instead of almost dead last, because I mean they're just horrible at home. Ottawa's going to turn some heads even this year, huh? Interesting. Well, I mean they won last night against the Rangers. Klingberg hasn't moved. No, there haven't been any. There hasn't been much serious interest. I haven't heard much in the way of stories. Yeah, and don't forget, guys. Like this is the final hour of the deadline. There could be something that comes in at 3:20 Eastern, but that's about it. All right, let's close this out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And happy Friday to you, Dan. All right. Let me see here. Atlanta again for a third time. No, you need to try out Houston or Kansas City first. But I don't want the NHL past 32 teams. You don't want to water down the talent too much. Just build up more hype around like the AHL and the ECHL. I'd rather do that. Let's see here. What do we have? We have 19 votes. And we have what? We have 5, 21, 21. Yeah, I'd put Anaheim at a C. The move they made for Kulikov today, I think, is good because they got something decent in return. Stars to Domi. Domi to Stars. Yes, absolutely. Hockey player. That is correct. He actually played last night. It was his birthday, too. How about that? Okay, so let me get a grade calculation here for Anaheim. Let's see here. That's a 521. Wait. I wrote that down totally wrong. Hold on a second. 52. Okay, 52 and 21 at the end, right? A 2.08. So not a very good grade. Winnipeg was a low grade as well. What about Dallas? How did Dallas grade out? They were a 2.19. So actually, I'm going to have to do this. Let me know, guys, if you want me to regrade Winnipeg. But basically, to balance things out more, this is how things are grading out at the moment. We did this one. We did the Jets before the Nemesnikov deal got announced. So, but again, I got to at least put a couple more teams down toward the bottom. In Florida, apologies, Axiom, but we got to put Florida at the bottom too, with Calgary, their trade partner in the offseason. And let's go to Greenway to Buffalo. Really? Let me know, guys, if I should regrade Buffalo. And yeah, that is a confirmed deal. Interesting. He can play kind of nasty, that old big rig. All right. And let's go to the Flyers. All right. Flyers. Buffalo ahead of the Islanders if they got Greenway. Oh, yeah. I'd even consider... Yeah, I'd put him at the front of the C tier. Let's see here. S or A, B, C, D, or F. Okay. I will editorialize that and put the Sabres ahead of the Islanders. Okay, guys, what do you think of the Flyers? Let me read off what they've done so far. And I know they've been busy this morning, so all the deals might not be reflected yet on Cap Friendly. There was a future considerations deal, and they got Brendan Lemieux and a 5th rounder in exchange for Zach McEwen. Let me know if there's anything else, though. There were talks about maybe James Van Riemsdyk being on the move, but we haven't seen that just yet. Biggest trade of the season. Both teams haven't made a move this year at the deadline, and both teams are going to probably miss the playoffs. Axiom, you know what? That to me is like, I might even have to screenshot that. That's like the most telling thing of this. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I gotta. No. Yeah, I might have to screenshot that. That's the most sage take I've seen. One of them. Point. Yeah, they should have been in a much different position. Could Hayes go to Carolina? That's a tough contract, though. I think Philly would have to eat some of it. So it would have to command a decent return, but I think Carolina has the assets to make that possible. But no, that deal hasn't happened yet. Flyers are an F for existing. All right, just 11 votes. So cast your votes if you haven't already. All right. Not too many strong opinions on Philadelphia so far. But yeah, I'd probably have them in D tier. They didn't do anything. That doesn't help. It's not like it's like how many of these players do you want on the roster going forward? Yeah, I find that so weird, T. It's already happened twice. All right, well, I'll just close this out then in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, Patrick, that's crazy. Only 6 deals today. That's nuts, man. All right, so with 16 votes, 56, 37, 6 and 0. Okay, that about it? All right. What's going on? All right. So 6, 56, 37. All right. So 19 and 16 here. So yeah, a score of 1.67 for Philadelphia. That's not particularly flattering. I'm going to put them here in the F tier as well because they're basically right next to Florida. Florida's worse though. Yeah, that's what's the Sundqvist is a wild. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, Hitman, thanks for hanging out with us. And enjoy the rest of your Friday. And hopefully work is over in the blink of an eye. They swapped Greenway for Sundqvist. Let's see here. Wait, was Sundqvist playing for Buffalo? Why did I think he was on St. Louis? Maybe not anymore. Some of those depth guys I don't keep track of. But yeah, I see. Ooh, Jordan Greenway got dealt, and Minnesota got a second round pick. That's good. I just don't know if he had any term left on the deal. All right, guys, let me know in the chat. Do I need to regrade any of these teams? I'll give you one shot at that. Sundqvist was the Red Wings. Oh, okay. Thank you, T. Yeah, they have all those former St. Louis Blues. Yeah, Detroit. Okay, got it. Yeah, Shane is a perfect source. He was on a line where everybody was 6'6" and up. Yeah, with Marcus Foligno. Eriksson Ek. Is Eriksson Ek that big too? I know he's a big dude, but I don't know if he was that big. Eriksson Ek is what? 6'3", 207. He's still pretty much one of the more underrated players in the NHL. The Greenway, Eriksson Ek, Foligno line. Yep. Why are the Blues at C? I don't know, John. I can't explain that one. Hey, does anyone have gum? Interesting name. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. For the Predators grade, yeah. So even though the Preds aren't making the playoffs, they were a perennial playoff team. They have put themselves in good position to kind of retool this team and give it a more fresh look. They dealt away a couple of popular players, but I think that what they got in return is actually they got more good draft picks and that sort of thing in return. They even got Tyson Barrie for some offense on their blue line in addition to Roman Josi. So, look, I'd give him an A. I think that was pretty solid. But at the end of the day, what you see here is pretty much a full reflection of all the votes that have been cast here by the community and not so much myself. I do weigh in on this a little bit, but not so much when it comes to the actual scoring. Yeah, I mean, does anyone have gum? You got to also look that Washington did the same thing at the deadline. And actually, there was one other team who kind of did what followed in those footsteps, like perennial playoff teams who realized, hey, even if we scratch and claw and get our way into the playoffs, we're probably not going to win a round against Colorado. We're not going to win a round against the Carolina Hurricanes or the New Jersey Devils. Why don't we get as much as we can in return and give this team 2, maybe 3 years at the most to come back stronger than we've been the last couple seasons? All right, who else we got in here? Tom, if a team is in D, they got worse or they just didn't make the best moves. It's about not making the best moves. Like Anaheim, for example, they could have sold off John Klingberg, and they didn't. Winnipeg did their moves. Does that help them win a round or two in the playoffs against Minnesota, perhaps, who did a little bit more at the deadline? Probably not. So that's kind of what I have to say about that. Yay, Patrick. Capitals extended Aubé-Kubel, the guy who won, then broke the Stanley Cup. Oh, yeah, that's right. He dented it. The trade for Greenway uses the second from the Eichel trade. Interesting. So Buffalo getting Greenway. They kind of straddle the line between C tier and D tier. All right. Winnipeg is always a sneaky team in the playoffs. Dallas, yeah, I think Dallas earlier this year was giving me a reason to believe they could contend the Western Conference. Right now, I'm not entirely sure, but they, especially if they don't win the division, I could see them making a deep run. Then again, the Avalanche have been absolutely scorching, so I just don't know if they have what it takes at that point. We'll see, though. Detroit and Seattle are in on JVR. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to keep my ear to the ground. If there's another big move, then I would consider going live. But of course, I'm going to still be putting out streams and content here and there throughout the season, especially when we get into the playoffs. That's when we'll turn things up, kind of like we have with this past week or so with the trade deadline. And then we'll have coverage of the offseason and that sort of thing for the draft, free agency, and that sort of thing. So anyway, I hope you've had a good time hanging out with us. If you're new here, you want more of this, then you know what to do down below. And yeah, do leave a thumbs up. That helps from an algorithm standpoint for attracting more great hockey fans. You guys this has been one of the best representations of our Twisted Wrister community that I've seen in my 5 years of doing this on YouTube. So thank you so much for being a part of something great here. And we have a lot more hockey to look forward to together. So enjoy the rest of your Friday and the weekend ahead. I'll be back sooner than you know. Anyway, guys, take care.